Tekken 4 is the black sheep of the franchise. The grounded story, unforgettable soundtrack, lack of devils, ogres, and schizophrenic scientists as playable characters. Tekken 4 was Namco's one-off experiment on what a somewhat realistic Tekken with a large emphasis given to the more elaborate darker tone story would look like. Despite all this, Tekken 4 flopped so hard the creator of Tekken left Namco for a whole year until he came back to make Tekken 5, which has been the blueprint of the franchise ever since. But how could this have happened? What made Tekken 4 such a diverse game in the community? And what made it become the second worst Tekken game of all time? Tekken 4 released in arcades in 2001, and on the PS2 in 2002. This game had a lot to live up to after Tekken 3, which is still regarded as one of the greatest and most influential fighting games of all time. Instead of playing it safe like they did with Tag Tournament, Namco decided to completely revamp the whole formula of Tekken in what would become Tekken 4.
Welcome to the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4.
Tekken 4 was the first game to have actual world stages instead of the infinite stages that we had in the past. Namco was probably cooked off their heads passing around bongs when deciding the locations for some of these stages. You can now bash cunts' heads in at the beach. Get mauled by a bear in the shopping centre. Or fuck it, Fight Club.
Because we're the same person.
That's right.
In all seriousness, Tekken 4 prioritized environment and atmosphere over anything else, which they nailed by the way. Everything from how visually stunning these stages are, to their layouts, and especially the soundtrack. My god, the soundtrack is fucking insane in this game. So many of these tracks are so catchy and relaxing to listen to. My favourite easily being the rooftop stage, and I think you can tell by listening to the muscle relaxing piano you can hear combined with a number of other elements. And just listen to the drums intensify after beating someone's ass.
It was perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
All of the stages themselves have a lot of detail and feel like these are just real places in the Tekken universe. But I reckon some areas of these stages are just slightly broken.
This right here is my favorite thing, ever. In the history of forever. I think about this every day.
One of Tekken 4's most impressive feats that definitely made the stages look so beautiful was a huge graphical jump from Tekken 3 to Tekken 4. It was impossible to comprehend how huge of a jump this was back then, and it looks like we're getting another major jump in graphics for Tekken 8. Tekken 4 by far had the best story compared to the rest of the Tekken franchise and really just most fighting games in general for three main reasons. 1. The Tekken story wasn't some weird ass lazy anime plot at this point in time, so most of the player base could comprehend what was going on and knew why everyone was fighting. 2. Each character had their own interesting story arcs that were portrayed through the use of these dark and gritty comic style panel drawings, which were really detailed and conveyed so many different emotions and meanings. And 3. Each character's ending was significantly longer and more in depth compared to any other Tekken game that's ever released. The amount of content in story mode was just really impressive. The story exposition was executed almost perfectly in this game. How each character is set up with the dark and sinister backing track you're hearing now with the cold, emotionless voice narrating over these stories.
Unable to cope with failure, Marshall fell into depression and spent his days at home on his couch in a drunken haze. Convicted of second-degree manslaughter, Craig was sentenced to 10 years in the state penitentiary. But Steve soon realized that no matter what he did, the Mafia would eventually catch and kill him. He would never learn the truth of his past. Motivated by this realization, Steve sought the limelight once again and entered the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4. Kazuya was infuriated by Heihachi's interference once again. He was determined more than ever to exact his vengeance. Unfortunately for Lei, his live-in girlfriend got fed up with his workaholic lifestyle and dumped him in favor of Lei's assistant. Lei was devastated.
You can look at this one image from Jin from the story mode and see how enraged and vengeful he is after the events of Tekken 3, when he first transformed into a devil after getting shot in the head by Heihachi. The purple hoodie hiding his face just adds to how mysterious this new Jin is, and also proves how much he's changed from the 2-year time gap from Tekken 3 to Tekken 4. He even changed his whole fighting style, which the developers were really ballsy to do back then. I guarantee if something like this happened today, it would piss off the entire Tekken fanbase.
No, don't. It's too late. Come on, dude, don't. It's already in motion. Well, put it out of motion! You pissed me off.
Perfect.
King's mentor Armor King was murdered by newcomer Marduk, which made King driven by rage to kill his new sworn enemy until he saw a picture of his family in the hospital room Marduk was getting treatment in, which reluctantly convinced a rage-driven King to spare his life. Brian, who's a dying man abandoned by his creator, looks so weak and sick in game, yet still driven by rage, making him more powerful than ever. The overall presentation and illustration in this game was ahead of its time for a fighting game, and was just executed so well. Tekken 4 didn't have a huge variety of game modes, but it still had enough, with the one worth mentioning being Tekken Force, which is still loved by everyone in the community today.
That's why he's everything! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
And was a huge upgrade from Tekken 3's iteration of this game mode. They even brought back the iconic chickens from Tekken 3. The third-person beat-em-up style of gameplay just works so well for Tekken, and I think this was definitely the best extra game mode in a Tekken game by far, purely because of how addictive and replayable it is. It had so much potential and could have been expanded upon so much more, but instead we got...
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell.
Oh, man.
Besides Tekken 1, Tekken 4 was the worst selling Tekken game, but yet it had such a massive cult following with so many fans adoring this game, me included. The fact that it's completely different in terms of fighting mechanics, atmosphere, and the overall presentation, and that it went all out on experimentation is probably why. Tekken 4 just felt like it was being set up to build a world and atmosphere with so many dark, gritty stories instead of just the repeatedly throwing your family members into volcano story arc that we've become accustomed to since the very beginning. Tekken 4 was the first Tekken I ever played, which I first experienced from this PAL PS2 demo disc that freezes when I select the character. I did eventually get Tekken 4, 5 and 6, which I played the living shit out of so much growing up when I was little. And even today I still love revisiting all three of them, especially Tekken 4. Despite how understandably controversial Tekken 4 can be compared to the rest of the franchise and how it changed so much, it's still a top 3 Tekken game in my opinion. You can't change my mind. I'm so nostalgic towards Tekken 4 to the point where I bought this mint condition complete in-box copy of the Japanese Tekken 4, and I'll end up buying an American version just to complete the set eventually when I can find one for a good price. Slightly off topic, but why is Christy so bad? Just hear me out, the things I'll do to that fucking bitch.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
I really wish bro was with me. He got 8 on his back like